something else also began happening. I've always been very, very keen on developing myself. And I started following a gentleman that he's now the late. He's called Jim Rohns. Jim Rohns. Those days there was not much of the social media stuff. There was no YouTube. The only way to communicate was via email. So he used to send an email every day, and I would read it every day in the morning, and it had action points. So I started personal development. That was now where I began with personal development.
That was his forte.
That is forte. He was a motivational speaker, very centered on God. That was one thing that I liked about him. But he had this thing of influencing my life, even though I never met him in person, and making me a better person. So I started doing all this personal development. I'm reading all these books on personal development. I started implementing something that I used to call small changes, big results. And what it meant is, if you do something every day for 15 minutes, for 360 days, you will hardly find someone who can compete with you after 360 days. You know, and I would read like 5 books at the same time, you know, and each book is 15 minutes. And each book was like giving me something different. It was like a nutrition, you know. So I had this thing, and I started waking up. I'm waking up at 6. Time was no longer enough. I wake up at 5 is no longer enough. I wake up at 4, and now it's like 3. I started getting sick. So my body was just getting sick. There was just something wrong about me waking up at 3. But I had so much to do before I get to the office. And it set me on a very serious personal growth trajectory. I was so confident. In fact, it's like I just discovered the power of the potential in me was even scary. You know, it was scary. So he helped me now to even start setting goals and how to implement them personally. You know, not those things you do in the office.
Yes, I get.
Character. So character became a big thing for me. So I stayed in AR until 2003.
At this time, are you still living at home?
I'm still living at home.
First job. Now you're the breadwinner.
I'm the breadwinner.
Whoa.
I'm the breadwinner.
But that, on the other hand, you're a step closer to getting your family out of this thing. You've started. Yes. You started. Remember in the beginning when you're telling us part of the goals was, how do I fix this problem?
Yes. So it was clear. I'm the breadwinner.
How did it feel to finally make that, to go back to make money?
It was extremely liberating, not for myself, but for my entire family. I saw how my mom worked so hard, my dad, how he struggled, and it was like this dark cloud was suddenly lifting. You know, it was suddenly lifting. There was something happening that was for once positive after a long time. After a long time. When I got admitted into university, there are people who said I will never join it because my parents can't afford. But God did it. In university too, also I got bursary.
What? Because of your performance and your application for it.
I mean, it was just, I was a needy case from the entry point. You know?
HELB, you got HELB.
HELB was, you know, the way it was, they used to disburse, it was according to your needs. So I got the highest allocation.
Which meant full scholarship.
At least For most of it.
Yes.
For most of it.
Oh, that's powerful. Let's take a few minutes to talk about HELB.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate, and I realized that later on that not to need that because of my parents' financial situation. But explain to me HELB, like, and the impact that it has in society.
I'm telling you, if there was no HELB, you would not be seeing some of the amazing lawyers you were seeing during the Supreme Court petition. Many of the great minds have come through because of that support from HELB. And it's a very noble idea, and that's why it's so important for us to honor our debt.
I was going to bring that up. Pay it, basically pay back because you're holding something for someone else.
And for me, I started paying it from my first salary.
No way.
Yeah, from my first salary, we're paying HELB. So it helped to, to avoid this thing of trying to talk to who is who and who is who to help you, and burden someone. Now you're getting help from an institution, and you also have a responsibility to pay it back. So you also need to make good of it, So that was for me. It was critical.
Yes.
For me to be able to go to university.
It is.
It was necessary. It was a survival kit. Yeah.
And it moved a weight off your shoulders.
Yes, but let me say this also. What people don't know is that there are also very many people who use HELB to help their families.
What?
Yes.
Because the stipend that you get.
Yeah, that stipend, it becomes critical for it can be critical for your family. So it has probably served more than what even it was supposed to serve.
That's powerful to hear. Okay, so you say you're at AR. I can see your character being formed in AR. I can see.
So now, for me, AR was a character formation phase.
Okay.
A conscious character formation. Then something also happened when I was at AR.
Just before that, this email conversation that you were having, these emails that you were getting,
Jim Ron,
were you replying and then he?
It was like
a newsletter.
It was like a newsletter with work to do. With two people.
Actionable
points. So it started transforming my mind. It started opening possibilities in my mind. It started making me to ask myself questions like, if I want to be a CEO, what do I need to do?
Okay.
I remember it pushed me. I ended up reading the book, Act Like a CEO.
Ooh.
And this idea of CEO now was like in my mind when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. Pius, you know what's so powerful? Every stage of your life, in fact, I was just about to ask you, now that you've gotten a job, because remember, every stage you tell me there's a next stage.
Yeah.
So in university, you said that your next stage was getting the degree.
Yes.
So that you could get the job.
Yes.
So now in this stage of getting the job as an employee,
yes,
now your goal becomes, I want to be CEO.
And more than that, it was a character development.
Okay.
It was a character. CEO was a good goal, but I was more amazed by the ability of me influencing my character development. You get it?
I get it.
A better person, a good person, this kind of stature, So I finished university in 2001, 2002. I got born again.
2002?
Yes.
Conscious decision?
Conscious decision.
So before all this time,
I was the good guy who even the ladies in ICU would want to come with me to join the ICU.
In CU.
I had a lot of guys in CU telling me, Pius, just come and join. As in,
No way.
But I was this guy I'm a staunch Catholic guy, And
yes.
I had a girlfriend in university. And she used to come to my Catholic church. So when I left university, she invited me to their church. And it was a Pentecostal. And I didn't have any defense because she accompanied me to Catholic church. So now I didn't have any defense. So I went to the church and like, wow, that word, it was mine. Then the following Sunday I said, I want to come to that church again, Nairobi Lighthouse Church. I'm like, wow. I started going to Nairobi Lighthouse Church. That was another turning point in my life.
Oh man. Rebecca Don's dad, is that the one? Mathini.
Pastor Don.
Yes, Pastor Don.
Mathini.
Yes.
Pastor Don Mathini.
Yeah.
So I started going to Nairobi Lighthouse Church. I'm not born again yet, but I'm going to Nairobi Lighthouse Church. And now I'm coming from a family where generations have been going to, are staunch Catholics. So back at home, mom is like, what is going on? And I'm like, Mom, I'm just finding this is where I'm growing. And she kept reminding me, you know, our family, this is our background. This is where, we are Catholics.
This is who we are.
This is who we are. So we had
another conflict.
A conflict. But April 2002, I went to Sitam Karen, and they were showing this. They had this event which they do every year. Is it
Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames?
Yes.
Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames.
So I sat, I listened. They called the altar call. I ran. I did not want my girlfriend to sit there. I said, I can't even ask her.
I'm out.
I'm going. I went. I got born again. That was huge turning point in my life. I call it the first best decision of my life.
The first best decision of your life.
The first best decision of my life. Because I used to go to church. I used to be a good person. But this time I chose God for myself. And I started pursuing him myself. And my mom was like, oh, you know, this, that. And then she started seeing me waking up every day in the morning. I'm reading the Bible. Something she'd never seen before. And she's like, wow, this guy is changing.
The fruits are the fruits.
This guy is changing. So she stopped fighting me. She started liking what I was doing and who I was becoming.
Yes.
And who I was becoming. And
let me say this, Pius. The whole time you've given your story, like, to somebody who doesn't understand the concept of being born again versus not being born again, you sounded like somebody who was born again all throughout.
Yes.
You get?
Yes.
Because of you're good, you are obedient, you are saying no to the club, you are doing this, you are studying.
Yes.
So even when you said now in 2002 is when you got born again, I'm like, hold up. I thought that happened when you were, you know.
No. And I had seen so many people who are born again, in quotes. But mine, I told God, I don't want to be called born again for the sake of being called born again. It's not for show off. I want to have a real testimony that I'm a born again Christian. So it was a very weighty decision for me. And changes started immediately.
Let me also add and say, when you watch Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames, it's a terrifying play. In that it shows you where your life will go if you've not made this Christ decision. So sometimes a lot of people make that decision out of the fear and then revert to default settings of where they were in terms of no lifestyle change. What I love about what I'm hearing from your story, you even, like, it was very conscious what you were doing.
And it was going to bring real changes into my life. And those changes had costs, including the girlfriend who took me to
yeah,
be born again.
Bring on the juice.